I'm wondering about the impact of the Kurdish situation on what's going on. If the Kurdish situation today has anything to do with the government's reluctance to discuss a genocide, and how the whole Kurdish situation fits in. I mean, you know, Armenia got territory that the Kurds didn't, so how does all the Kurdish situation factor into your discussion? Or do you just not talk about it?
No, it's another topic, and it's very important, and there is a relation between them. First of all, that we talk in Turkey from a Kurdish problem because we haven't talked enough on the Armenian question.
But this is a live issue.
Yes. What I want to try to say first, there is a continuum in the mentality. The mentality is state considers its own citizens, which belong to other ethnic group, as a threat. And this is the case with the Kurds, and this was the case with the Armenians. So there is a very strong continuation in the mentality how state treats its own minorities or other ethnic groups. In that sense, there is a strong relation with each other, the Kurdish question and the Armenian issue. Second important aspect is that there are two different approaches today in Turkey regarding the Kurdish question. The Turkish, mostly establishment, military and bureaucracy, considers still Kurds as a threat for their national existence, and the main discussion in Turkey among these circles and in Turkey generally, whether or not Turkish army should intervene in North Iraq because there is a separatist organization fighting against Turkey, and Turkey has enough arguments because Israel goes whenever it wants in the Lebanon, and so if a terrorist organization comes from outside, then it is our legitimate right, says Turkey, go over and operate and fight the Kurds. But there is another concern in Turkey, and the governing party is a part of this concern. They say that terrorism or the violence is not the essence of the Kurdish problem. The essence of the Kurdish problem is the Kurds must be acknowledged as such, with their religious, cultural rights, whatever they have. And in order to develop this policy, certain groups within the government, and there are enough voices in Turkey, they are propagating for an integration with North Iraq, regardless the borders. Integration with the Kurds, economic integration, this is what's going on there, and the political talks with Kurds, and this is today's the major controversy in Turkey. If you follow the Turkish press, the topic is whether or not Turkish government members allowed to talk with Barzani and Talabani. Because of the main line established by military and bureaucracy, Talabani still hasn't been acknowledged as the president of Iraq in Turkey, and he's not invited. 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Turkish General Staff, Yaşar Büyükanıt, he was in Washington and openly declared in a press conference that Turkey will never talk with terrorists or tribal leaders. He called Talabani and Barzani as tribal leaders. We'll never talk to them, and because they are supporting the terrorism. And it was just the time when foreign minister was planning to a meeting with the representative of Barzani as foreign minister. Then Foreign Office canceled this meeting. What happened 3 days ago, the Prime Minister used another opportunity, the meeting of the Islamic countries, flew to Riyadh and met there with Talabani. Not as a direct, but against the policy of military and bureaucracy, he met with Talabani, and there is now an ongoing strife, a fight within the Turkish government. On the one side, military and bureaucracy, who really tries to consider all this as a security concept and as a terrorism problem, and on this other side, the new government understand that there is another problem there, can only be solved through reconciliation. And I expect that the government policy, the ruling party's policy will prevail in Turkey. And then the third process, I am expecting the opening of the border towards Armenia. This government, I'm a liberal and coming from a leftist origin, I can say easily this is a historic chance for Turkey. This government, because first time represent a separation, a diversion from the military and bureaucracy. This is first time in Turkish history another group of people came to the power as a part of ruling group. So we can be hopeful in that regard.
Okay, simply just curious to see if, in regards to your work with the Turkish genocide issue, you draw parallels from other similar situations in the Middle East. I don't know, maybe specifically Israel or within the situation in Iraq or other states within the Middle East, because you do focus on human rights issues in the Middle East, not only Turkey.
No, as a scholar, not. What I'm working in these months and years, mostly now the Greeks and Assyrians, the policy of the Ottoman authorities against the Greeks. It's very interesting to follow up the policy of the Ottoman authorities beginning 1912, 1923, and my basic focus is the history. With the current problems, Elazar.
Taner, thank you very much for today's speech. I would like to ask you about the proposal of the Turkish Prime Ministers to Armenia. You know that established a joint commission of historians. I remember for a long time Armenia was in favor of establishing, or Armenians since 1997 were in favor of establishing joint commission of historians, but Turkish side was not ready. I know
we can reveal our attempts out to the public.
And now today, situation has a little bit changed, and as you perfectly described, today's Turkish government is trying to look for a way out to solve the problems within neighboring countries, including Armenia. And I think the last proposal made by the Prime Minister, although it may have some technical difficulties inside, it sounds a positive approach to me. Establishing a joint commission of historians together with Armenia, Republic of Armenia, with the inclusion of the third parties, as Foreign Minister Gül suggested a couple of days ago in Washington Times. How would you evaluate this approach? Do you think it will be a great chance to take as Turks and Armenians for the reconciliation? I'd like to hear your opinion about this.
Now, I can reveal a history between what Khan and I initiated. When was it, Khan? Maybe 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
We really believed that a historian commission should be established, and Khan is the president, president still, the Turkish-Armenian Business Association, and he's really working very hard. Thank Khan for your efforts to bring both nations together. And he asked us as scholars whether we can be participated in such a process, and we said, definitely, Khan, we will do everything, whatever you want. And his idea was to establish a historian commissions between Turkey and Armenia, and he got the green lights from Armenia, and the Turkish side toppled this initiative. It was 5-6 years ago. Now, today, the Turkish government makes the same suggestion to establish an historian commission between Turks and Armenians. There are certain problems in Turkish suggestions. I, first of all, generally support a general demand or policy to establish an historian commission, no doubt about it.